Hey guys, welcome to BP the Bible Perspective. Baltimore DA Marilyn Mosby has been indicted. Now, I hope the charges are not true. But further, there is some lessons we can learn as black people from this indictment. Now, before we get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. Um, Baltimore lead prosecutor Marilyn Mosby, a rising star in the Democratic Party. Um, I believe she is running now for her third term as Baltimore lead prosecutor. She came to national prominence during the horrific death investigation of Freddie Gray, who died uh, uh, at the hands of police. It was actually, he had a damaged spinal cord. It was believed that this damage occurred even before they had put him into the police transport van. And while in the transport van, they were accused of driving. There was this kind of way that they would drive. They didn't secure him. And so as they would drive, they would make sharp turns and constantly throw his body around. Now, if you were sitting there handcuffed, it was a torturous lesson that the police did. Um, and as a result, Freddie Gray died, and this sparked riots. And as a result, Marilyn Mosby vowed to prosecute the police, and she did. 6 police were charged, and actually, and I believe they all beat the charges eventually. Now, I want to read the article of her indictment because, as I said, I hope these charges are not true. Regardless if they're not true, I want to examine why, in my opinion, that she kind of fell prey to this. And then the lessons that we as black people should learn. One, that she is a high profile black person. And when she came against the powers that be, that did put a target on her back. And as such, she should have been more prepared. She should have been more watchful and careful. So let's get into it. So, Baltimore Chief Prosecutor Marilyn Mosby indicted, accused of perjury and making false loan applications. This is the charge here. It said Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn J. Mosby, a rising star who was thrust into the national spotlight after the 2015 police custody death of Freddie Gray, was indicted Thursday by a federal grand jury on 2 counts each of perjury and making false loan applications. Now, as we're going to move through this, we're going to see that what's interesting, this was her retirement fund. Now, I've heard other people kind of defend this and say, well, it was her money. They know better. The people who were saying that they know better. When you sign loan applications and bank applications and money applications, one of the statements that you sign, think about it. If you do it online, you click I certify that, and basically you're certifying that the statements that you're making is true, that you're not giving false information. If you read further, it also tells you that this could be punishable by, again, prosecution, jail time, things like that. It actually says that in the documents that you sign. Furthermore, remember, Marilyn Mosby is a lead prosecutor. She knows the law. Before we get into it, let's understand this. She knows the law. Unlike us, sometimes we sign these things, don't know what we're signing. She did. She's a lawyer. Okay, so that's the first thing. So it says the indictment alleges that Mosby claimed under penalty of perjury. That's the key right there. It says that in the documents, and when you sign stuff, it'll say that. It says the indictment alleges that Mosby claimed under penalty of perjury to have experienced adverse financial consequences as she twice asked to withdraw money from her City of Baltimore retirement fund under a CARE Act clause designed to help people cope with the pandemic. Now, a lot of people took advantage of money that was given by the government. And again, there's a right way of doing it and there's a wrong way of doing it. Okay, the money was available. Okay, prosecutor says the work hardships Mosby cited in May and December of 2020 to withdraw $40,000 and $50,000 respectively were unfounded, as she received her full gross salary of $250,000 that year. Now, also her husband received a salary as well. In other words, the Mosbys are doing well, right, in life. It said Mosby ultimately received the money from her retirement account. The indictments alleges that then used it to purchase 2 properties in Florida, a home in Kissimmee, and a condo in Longboat Key. Okay. Now, I'm not mad at that. In other words, I'm not judging that. She's making money. Okay, so I'm not mad at that. Not criticizing that. He says on both mortgage application, Mosby was required to disclose her liabilities, but failed to do so, according to court records. She did not reveal that she had unpaid federal taxes, or that in March 2020, the Internal Revenue Service had placed a $45,000 lien against all properties she and her husband owned, the indictment states. Now, again, this is kind of, I'm disappointed in this because, again, really, why were you behind on your taxes? Remember, she's a lead prosecutor. Well, why were you behind on your taxes? And especially making $250,000 a year. Now, she's actually making more than that when you combine that with her husband. Her husband was also making a high salary, a high 6-figure salary. Okay. So then it says, additionally, the indictment alleges that Mosby signed a second home rider on the Kissimmee property, which allowed her to obtain a lower mortgage rate and included a promise that the space would be a primary use by her as a second home. But a week before that, prosecutors allege Mosby signed an agreement with a vacation property management company to rent the home, which violated the terms of her home rider. Now you may go, why is this a problem? It shouldn't be, except when it is stated. So now it becomes illegal. And remember, she's a lawyer. She knows this. She knows better than this. An attorney for Mosley said Thursday that the charges were unfounded, rooted in personal, political, and racial animus 5 months from her election. Marilyn Mosby is innocent, has been innocent, and we look forward to defending her in a court of law and presenting evidence to her innocence to a jury of her peers. That sounds like kind of the classic lawyer defense. It seems like every lawyer make these same statements, right? That we will fight these charges vigorously, and I remain confident that once all the evidence is presented, that she will prevail against these bogus charges. Again, every single person says this. A lawyer says this. Okay. Anyway, so again, it's just amazing to me that she is in this predicament, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. Is the fact that the lessons we can learn as black people. Now, you notice he says here, an attorney for Mosby said Thursday these were unfounded, rooted in personal, political, and racial animus. So if this is true, and let's just say for the argument it's true, that the charges, the attacks were rooted in personal, meaning that people had a personal grudge against her, political, certainly her political enemies, and then racial. And all of these can be true. So here's the lesson that we should learn. That because of this, that out of anyone, she should have been extremely careful and vigilant about her dealings. As I said, she's a lawyer. And if those charges are true, shame on her, because she knows better. She knows better. And she can't claim ignorance. They are trying to, I think there was one report where it says that her husband said, I didn't know. She said, I didn't know that there was a tax lien on her. And so when I signed the documents, she's a lawyer. Out of anybody else, she knows. Let's look at the documents. Let's check everything. And it's hard for me to believe that she did not know there was a $45,000 lien. But I'm even more surprised if they wasn't paying their taxes in the first place. And here's what I'm saying. First of all, they make good money. They make high six figures. We know her salary is $250,000. There is no reason for her to be in that situation. There is no reason for her to have those kinds of dealings. And what I'm going to say is that if you're going to get into public arena and then you're going to fight the powers that be, you better have your armor on. You better be careful, because they will come after you. And if these charges are true, here's the lesson. She made it easy. She became an easy target. See, it'd be one thing if they just made up charges and lied. No, she made that easy. She gift wrapped that for them. The lesson here, don't put yourself in situations like that. You know, on a very much lower level situation in life, we cry sometimes because we can say, well, black people go to jail at a higher rate than white people. And that certainly may be true, but I will also say this, that the vast majority of black people going to jail don't have to go to jail if you're not doing the crime. You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to do drive-by shootings. You don't have to commit the crimes. If black people would stop doing that, that rate goes down. There will be unjust convictions, right? Trial charges and convictions. I understand that when Michelle Alexander wrote her book about the prison industrial complex, what to me, one of the things that was failing from that, because of the biggest defense that black people can raise is this: don't do the crime, right? Don't go and shoplift. Don't go and sell drugs, be in a gang. And if black people just do that, guess what? 90% of that prison rate goes down. And we have to say, so let's stop talking about how white people are going to charge us unfairly. We already know that game. So the best way to beat that game is to say, you know what? I'm not going to commit crime. As I said, when I go into a store, I'm not going to shoplift, so that, you know what? If they approach me, guess what? It better be a lie. Hey, I told my children, my son, when he would drive through certain neighborhoods, I told him, white cops are going to target you. Turn your music down. Make sure all your lights are on. Make sure your lights are working. Make sure your plates and your license, everything is up to date, because they will stop you. Or at least they're going to attempt. And the best way for a cop to get out of, if it was a racist stop, is for you to be guilty. If you were speeding, if your license plates are out of date, right? If you have warrants, then the racist charge from the cop goes away because you're guilty. The lesson here is we can control that. We can control our destiny by saying, you know what? I'm not going to be that target. I'm going to be more vigilant with my life. I hope the charges are not true in this case with District Attorney Marilyn Mosby. And I will be saddened and disappointed if they are true, because she should have known better. That's my perspective. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Add them to the comments section below, and remember, all comments are welcome. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. Till next time, I'll see you then.